my name is Nur Iliya Shafiqa binti Abdul Aziz, Matric number 2021-10-2413, and I'm from class CS2554B. So for this individual project, I will use Tftp protocol to make an application of client and server in a C program. So I will explain a bit about TFTP. So TFTP is Travel File Transfer Protocol. It is a simple protocol used for transferring files. TFTP uses the UDP to transport data from one end to another, for example, from client to server or from server to client. And TFTP uses port 69 in order to make a communication between client and server. Okay, next I will show you my code on a server part. So first I will define a port 6969 as an alternative port for TFTP, which is 69. And here is a main function that I have defined all the variables. And then I define a struct client as a client address and struct server as a server address. And this is a socket function to make a connection between client and server. And then this is a bind function that used to bind a socket to a particular address and port combination. So for this, my application, I will use bind to port 6969. And then after binding a socket to a port, and then the next thing we need to do is listen for a connection. So for this, we put a socket in a listening mode. So function listen is used to put the socket in a listening mode. And then after that we use accept function to determine if there is any request initiated by the client application to make a connection and to obtain a new socket. And then this is where I implemented the TFTP protocol. So I will explain more on when I'm running the application of client and server. Okay, but before that, I will show you a code on a client side. So this I define port as same as a server 6969, and this is a connect function that determine whether the client can make a connection to a remote server or fail. Next I will run an application that I have done on a client and server part. So I will run on the server part first. So after I run, it shows that socket descriptor has successful bind on port 6969 in address 192.168.59.5 has successful, which is this is my client address. And then listening the port to 6969 also has successful. Then I will run to my client part. Okay, after I run, it shows a message that client has connected to server at port 6969, which is the same port I entered, has also successful. And then on the server part also will get an acknowledgement that server has got connected to a client. So on a client, if we send a message to a server that he want to send a file to a server, so server will respond to client, enter a file name. So I will enter a file that I want to send to server. So send.txt. So after I enter a file that I want to send, client will show a message that the file is sending to the server. And then after server has successfully received after after server has successfully received a file, client will get an acknowledgement that the file has successfully sent to the client to the server. And on the server part, it will receive a message like this: okay, file received. So enter yes or no to decrypt. No. Okay, that is how I implement the FTP protocol on my client and server application. So that's all I would like to say. Thank you.